This is the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather and Connie Chung.
Good evening. It's the murder trial of the century, but you may not be able to see it on television.
The judge in the O.J. Simpson case is so angry at one local television station, he's threatening to pull the plug on all cameras and microphones in the courtroom. He says incorrect news reports are jeopardizing the chances for a fair trial. CBS News correspondent Bill Whitaker is in Los Angeles covering today's pretrial hearing.
Judge Lancito looked calm but was livid. He earlier scolded the media for what he called irresponsible behavior, erroneous reports on evidence. Today, he threatened to throw the press out of the courtroom.
It impacts upon Mr. Simpson's right to a fair trial. It has the impact of polluting the jury pool because it is evidence that is not evidence, and it is detrimental to Mr. Simpson's right to a fair trial and is fundamentally unfair.
The specific target of Ito's ire was Los Angeles TV station KNBC. It was the first to report that blood on Simpson's sock matched Nicole Simpson's, and last night, after the judge's admonition, reported the story again in greater detail.
That the blood drops found on the pair of socks recovered from Simpson's estate have been tested by a DNA lab not once, but twice.
Attorneys on both sides said they were outraged too. Judge Ito said he'll hold a hearing next week on whether to ban KNBC from the courthouse and maybe even yank the camera from the courtroom, period. In the makeshift broadcast towers and newsrooms at the courthouse, the threat to the media was the news.
The press, however, faces possible eviction.
And so if they pull the plug on that camera, all of us are out.
Legal observers say that would never withstand appeal.
The punishment does not fit the crime. There is no link whatsoever between the independent work that this local network affiliate did and the in-court electronic coverage of this trial.
Today, with the cameras still in place, the defense argued that 113 pieces of evidence were seized from Simpson's property with illegal search warrants and should be suppressed. Judge Ito said he'd allow all but 3 of the items.
And I declined the invitation to suppress this item.
But observers said it wasn't a total loss for the defense.
It was still useful for the defense to have this suppression hearing because they were able to raise their allegations of police misconduct and get a preview of which police officers may testify at trial and which ones are vulnerable to attack.
Monday, jury selection begins, and later in the week, a decision on the fate of the courtroom camera. Bill Whitaker, CBS News, Los Angeles.
U.S. Army soldiers hit the streets of Port-au-Prince today. U.S. Marines were doing the same up north at Cape Haitian. The Haitian military kept a low profile on day 5 of the American occupation. President Clinton said the situation has improved so much now that some Haitian refugees have agreed to go home next week from the U.S. naval base at Guantanamo. Correspondent Vicki Mabry is on the scene in Haiti.
American military police were on patrol today in the neighborhoods of Port-au-Prince, making a loop through the cheers at the open-air market in the hills above the city to the silence outside of the Haitian Military Transportation Depot downtown.
This is the first time the MPs have taken their show on the road, their first time out with the ability to protect the Haitian people.
Keeping the peace on the streets was discussed at a high-level meeting between American Commander General Hugh Shelton and General Raul Cedras. One sign of the shift in power, this time Cedras was summoned to see the Americans at their headquarters in the airport the Haitian Army used to control. Halana Jean wishes the Americans had been in control on Tuesday when her husband was beaten to death by Haitian police at the port. He liked the idea the Americans came in, she says. He wanted to see the helicopters with his own eyes. As she tries to raise the money to bury her husband and feed their 5 children, she still thanks the Americans. Normally, when the police kill someone, they just dump the body, she says. If the Americans had not been there, I would not have found the body. Her husband's murder is putting the Haitian justice system on trial.
In my 14 or 15 months here, no one's ever been tried or convicted or had anything done against them for having committed these acts. I think this is a good test case.
Paulana Jean may be hoping for American-style justice, but she's not taking any chances. She's taking her children and moving from her tiny home in this slum called Liberty. Vicki Mabry, CBS News, Port-au-Prince.
In Washington, Haiti's exiled president Jean-Bertrand Aristide went to Capitol Hill today for a meeting with congressional leaders. Aristide urged them to support keeping U.S. forces in Haiti as long as it takes to ensure his country's stability. Among those present, Senate Armed Services Committee Chairman Sam Nunn, one of the men who helped broker the cliffhanger deal with Haiti's military to avert a U.S. military invasion.
A key player in putting that deal together, along with former President Carter, was Colin Powell. Once again, the retired general is back in the spotlight. Powell is being talked up by some as a, quote, Dwight Eisenhower for the 90s, a popular military man who could have a shot at national office, even the Oval Office, if he so chooses. Correspondent Linda Douglas has been working on that story.
When Colin Powell stepped back into the limelight this week in the Haitian crisis, political hearts began to pound. Though he refuses to say whether he's a Democrat or a Republican, both parties dream of having the charismatic general on their team.
There's this enormous public respect for Colin Powell. He is probably the most respected man in the country. And that's very important.
He has great credibility, and there are very few people who have the stature that he has.
Some in the White House would like Powell to replace Secretary of State Christopher. His friends tell CBS News he might have taken that job if it had been offered earlier, but doesn't want it now. Meanwhile, some Republicans see him as their presidential candidate. Charles Kelly has started a draft Powell group.
He comes with no baggage. Nobody owns him. He's a man of great integrity, and I think everybody feels it.
Kelly was part of the movement to draft another general, Eisenhower, for president. He thinks Powell has the same kind of appeal, a proven leader who's not a politician. But some warn Powell's bound to lose some of his magic if he becomes a candidate.
Colin Powell hasn't had to speak out on a whole range of issues, especially domestic policy issues.
Powell is busy writing his memoirs, for which he's being paid $6 million. Friends say he hasn't decided what to do next. Last year, he reflected on his future.
I have nothing against politics. I like politics. I even like politicians. I'm just not sure it's the right thing for me to do.
Polls show he would easily beat President Clinton if the election were held today. But while Powell has been tested on the battlefield, he has yet to face the perils of a political campaign, a very different form of warfare. Linda Douglas, CBS News, Washington.
And coming up next on the Friday CBS Evening News, a shake-up at the White House. The president's chief spokeswoman speaks for herself.
And later, Eye on America. Tonight, the case of the deadlocked juries.
It's nighttime. You've got a headache and can't sleep. You would take a nighttime medicine, but you're worried. Why? This is aspirin-free and gently helps you to sleep. This is the only one that's treated nighttime headaches and sleeplessness over 200 million times. Aspirin-free Excedrin PM. The only one made by Excedrin, the headache medicine. This is the PM medicine for headaches from Excedrin. Aspirin-free Excedrin PM.
When do you use Thompson's?
Every year since 1981. Every fall for 5 years.
Without Thompson's, water invisibly weakens surfaces. Suddenly you've got damage.
10 years. And we never replaced a single board.
Thompson's Water Seal Waterproofer, the seal of success.
While you weren't looking, something magical happened. The durability of an oil-based enamel and the easy cleanup of a latex came together. Hard to believe? Try it and see. Duratex colors enamels from Red Devil for the finish of a lifetime.
In Washington, a long-expected shakeup tonight in President Clinton's White House staff, but it turned out not to include the ouster of one prominent staffer many had been told to expect. Our White House correspondent Rita Braver reports now who's in, who's out, and why it changed at the last minute.
You might call it the case of the plucky press secretary who prevailed. Despite months of rumors she'd be replaced by someone who could do a better job of defending the president, Dee Dee Myers had a meeting last evening with President Clinton and not only held on to her job, but was promoted to the rank of assistant to the president. Administration sources say in keeping Myers on, the president overruled his chief of staff, Leon Panetta, who'd been trying to do what he thought the president wanted done. But at a White House briefing to announce a broader staff shakeup, a session where Myers was pointedly absent, Panetta denied that anyone wanted to dump her.
I saw some of those stories, and they are not true. The president made the decision, along with myself, yesterday,
Sources say Myers was frequently denied information to do her job, that the boys locked her out. One source who's close to her said she's still likely to depart early next year. And in fact, the new White House structure still has an overwhelming number of white males at the top. Panetta, Deputy Chief of Staff Harold Ickes, and a new deputy, Erskine Bowles, now head of the Small Business Administration. He'll swap jobs with Phil Lader, who'll become the first SBA chief with cabinet rank. And with the third White House restructuring in less than 2 years, the question is whether it's a presidential rather than a staff problem.
I guess what I would ask is that, the American people and all of you need to look at that record of accomplishment. The bottom line is the record that we have achieved.
Aides say this reorganization brings badly needed discipline to the White House staff, creating strict lines of authority, ending the freewheeling ways of the past, that is, as long as the president sticks to the program. Rita Braver, CBS News at the White House.
On Capitol Hill, don't expect a shakeup anytime soon in the way Congress raises and spends campaign money. All Thursday night long and on through the day today, a Republican-led filibuster succeeded in blocking the latest campaign finance reform legislation. Among the bill's key provisions, public financing of congressional campaigns in exchange for voluntary spending limits. Also, new limits on money from special interests. On Wall Street, it's now 4 losing sessions in a row. The Dow lost more than 5 points today, more than 100 points this week.
When I get gas, I may look like this, but I feel like this, painfully bloated.
Gas-X has the most powerful medicine to fight gas faster than antacids.
So I feel like me again.
Painful gas needs the power of Gas-X.
Whoever said, into each life some rain must fall, never lived under our shingles. Owens Corning. We make the difference.
Is the gray in your mustache or beard making you look too old? Now there's Just for Men Brush-In Color Gel, specially for the hard-to-color hair of mustaches and beards. This brush-in gel stays put to penetrate hard-to-color hair. In 5 minutes, rinse. Your mustache or beard blends with your natural hair color, and it won't fade or wash out.
Now that's a lot better.
Just for Men Color Gel, from the leader in men's hair coloring.
Fruit and Fiber has a great new taste, and we just can't keep it under wraps.
I got a great new taste.
Now with crispy multigrain flakes.
I got a great new taste.
More raisins, more walnuts, more dates.
Got a lot of great new taste.
And oat clusters with a touch of brown sugar.
Oh yeah, I got a great new taste.
A new taste so delicious, it shows. The new Post Fruit and Fiber cereal. It's fruit and fiber.
And a great new taste.
You don't hear much about black power anymore, but you do hear a lot about the Black Caucus. How much black power does the Black Caucus have? 60 Minutes, Sunday. Did being a juror on a case almost as famous as the Simpson case change his life? You bet it did. Find out how on Eye on America, Monday on the CBS Evening News.
Reports of new massacres are coming out of Rwanda tonight. This time, troops of the new government, mainly from the minority Tutsi tribe, are accused of atrocities against the majority Hutus. UN officials say thousands of Hutus have been killed in southeastern Rwanda. 120 UN peacekeepers from Canada and Australia are being rushed into the area.
Nelson Mandela is coming to America next week with a new role and a new message. The one-time freedom fighter is now president of South Africa, and he's trying to promote international trade for South African industries. Among them, an industry that thrived under white minority rule in the era of apartheid. Correspondent Barry Peterson reports.
In Africa, if a predator is exceptionally strong and dangerous,
guess who's out to arm the world? South Africa, hawking weapons it designed and manufactured during the 17-year UN arms embargo lifted only last spring.
We're talking about doubling our profits within the next coming years. I'm talking about the next 2-3 years. But we are on our way.
And leading that way, the Rooivalk attack helicopter shown off at a British air show, a contender for a British contract worth $3 billion, and that could help back home.
That's stimulating the economy in South Africa.
But even within South Africa, the debate rages. is this really the way for a country once torn by violence to provide some sort of peaceful prosperity?
What we want to export is not instruments of death.
Worse, says Archbishop Tutu, the weapons used for repression during apartheid are now available to dictators near and far. In Rwanda, South Africa helped arm the now deposed government.
They are using these armaments not to protect their people, but to repress their people, so that it is doubly unsatisfactory.
But President Mandela is supporting arms sales. Every dollar means jobs in a country where unemployment is almost 50%. Jobs that may well be lost in the American arms industry.
South Africa will be very competitive with American industry in key areas, in key niche markets. Mine-protected vehicles, long-range artillery, radio communications. That's where they will succeed.
The ballot freed South Africa, but the bullet may still be needed to help pay for its future. Barry Peterson, CBS News, Farnborough, England.
3 years after the eruption of Mount Pinatubo in the Philippines, rocks and mud are still coming down the mountain. An avalanche of volcanic debris slid down today following heavy rains. A dozen villages were swamped and at least 13 people died. Thousands more were left homeless. In this country, it was chaos on the interstate during rush hour this morning after a truck carrying more than 100 head of cattle overturned on an interstate highway in Texas. Many of the cattle were killed or injured, but dozens were roaming the streets of downtown Dallas before finally being rounded up. Ronnie?
Coming up next, Eye on America. He says he's 100% not guilty. Can either side convince 100% of the jury?
Okay, Daddy's turn to eat. Mommy said, drop Crispix so it doesn't get soggy in milk. Yeah, Mommy is funny. Okay, so it starts crispy. Big deal, huh? Well, like childhood, this won't last.
Kellogg's Crispix cereal. Delicious corn and rice that stays crispy to the end.
Last bite. This should be mushy enough for you. Hey, it's still crispy. You're gonna love this stuff. Of course, you're gonna need teeth first. That means orthodontist.
It's your kick. You got your vitamin A, your vitamin C. I like it because it has those beta carotenes in it.
What's that word?
Beta carotenes.
It's zippy kind of thing, a zippy thing.
Fibercon or Metamucil? Both give you the same predictable regularity, the same natural action of fiber. So what makes Fibercon different? With Fibercon, I get my fiber in 2 caplets. Fibercon, fiber regularity that's easier to take.
This advanced technology helps to diagnose arthritis. But to effectively relieve the minor pain of arthritis, use this, Advil. Advil contains the #1 doctor-prescribed pain reliever in its class, in non-prescription strength. Advil works directly at the site of arthritis pain, and nothing's been proven to last longer. And Advil is gentler on your stomach than aspirin. Advil, advanced medicine for pain.
Before we tell you who makes the new Radius collection, you'd better sit down, shelve your preconceived ideas, and put any doubts to bed. Radius from Ethan Allen. Come see what's on sale.
How do green thumbs keep veggies fresher longer? Ziploc brand vegetable bags with tiny holes called freshness vents. They let the right amount of moisture out, keep freshness in. That's the whole reason.
Ziploc has the lock on freshness.
For vegetables.
Every 4 years, the world's best meet. From Rome, it's the World Swimming and Diving Championships. Saturday, with an eye on sports.
The public has been debating the guilt or innocence of O.J. Simpson for weeks now. Lawyers will soon argue the case in court, and in the end, 12 jurors to be selected beginning Monday will decide. Or will they? Remember the Menendez brothers? 2 separate juries deadlocked in their murder trials. In fact, Los Angeles juries are becoming notorious for failing to reach verdicts, as John Blackstone reports in tonight's Eye on America.
Ladies and gentlemen, is this your verdict, so say you one, so say you all?
Yes.
That's the way the jury system is supposed to work, a unanimous verdict on guilt or innocence. But in Los Angeles, 1 jury in 10 ends its deliberations like this.
I find that the jury is hopelessly deadlocked
and the court declares a mistrial.
The startlingly high number of hung juries in Los Angeles is a factor for both sides preparing for the trial of O.J. Simpson.
Keep in mind that all the defense needs is one juror to cause a mistrial.
Some jury experts say that's exactly what the defense will be looking for.
Their strategy will be to find that one juror who will hang the jury.
I believe even those jurors who think he did it are going to sit back and say, you prove it to me that he did it, and you better prove it pretty damn well.
But convincing jurors may be getting more difficult. There seems to be a new mood of independence in the jury box. For some reason, it's getting harder to predict what jurors will do. Across the state, prosecutors say juries are failing to reach verdicts.
We're getting a lot of lone jurors, 11 to 1. So you didn't see so many 11 to 1 verdicts, which means you have to try the case all over again. Taxpayer expense.
Deputy DA Therese Drebeck was convinced she had a solid murder case. Stacey Lee was charged with stabbing another woman to death in plain sight on an Oakland street, while a crowd looked on.
First degree, premeditated, deliberate, cold-blooded, calculated murder.
But when the case went to the jury, it was a little like the old movie 12 Angry Men.
You mean you're asking us to believe that somebody else did the stabbing with exactly the same kind of knife? The odds are 1,000,000 to 1. It's possible.
In the movie, Henry Fonda is the lone holdout. In this case, Howard Beckman was the holdout. He won't talk now about causing a hung jury, but he left other jurors feeling they'd failed.
What was it like in that jury room when there was this one?
Frustrating. Everyone was starting to get angry.
People were going home at night and thinking about it, not being able to sleep.
We were saying murder, and he was saying nothing. That's what was frustrating.
Finally, the jury gave up, deadlocked 11 to 1.
Seemed like a waste of your time now?
It seemed like a waste of everybody's time.
Anything about that experience that would sour you on the courts?
Some trace the apparent increase in hung juries in California to a change in procedures 4 years ago.
Do you feel you could fairly and objectively evaluate?
Jury selection was largely taken out of the hands of attorneys and given to judges.
You're excused.
But California's Attorney General sees a change in the attitudes of jurors themselves.
Some people come to the jury box, apparently, viewing themselves more like a spectator at an Oprah Winfrey show or a Geraldo Rivera show.
The talk shows seem to give the message everyone is a victim.
Your mom hit you, so you hit her back? Is that what you're telling us?
Nobody is to blame. That sentiment may be making convictions more difficult.
We need 12 people who will convict. The defense attorney needs one person who could hang it up.
And with hung juries now routine in Los Angeles, there's a prospect that the most watched murder trial ever could end up being a courtroom drama without a verdict. In Oakland, John Blackstone for Eye on America.
Attention heartburn sufferers.
If antacids work, why do I keep getting heartburn?
You know, frequent heartburn may be a sign of a more serious medical problem. Your doctor has treatment plans that can help.
Frequent heartburn. Isn't it time you talk to your doctor?
If men weren't meant to fly, they wouldn't have put our Advantex fiber in skis. Owens Corning. We make the difference.
Introducing the neatest new kitchen appliances, the Black & Decker Spacemaker Optima line. A coffee maker that's capable of intelligent thought, even at 7 a.m. A whole new kind of toaster that toasts even the thickest items, so you don't need a fork to dig them out. And a can opener that opens almost any size can, while you do something else. But best of all, they each fold, close, and tuck neatly away. So the Spacemaker Optima line looks as good as it works. What a neat idea.
If you want 100% of 12 vitamins and minerals from your cereal, try Total. Because to try to get that from Corn Flakes, you're going to have to add more than just milk.
Like what?
Well, maybe you could start with these. Huh? Whole grain Total. One bowl, 100%.
I'll try the Total.
What do people think of these Sunsweet Orange and Lemon Essence Pitted Prunes?
I love lemons. Do they smell like oranges? I like these a lot. Orange essence excites me. Lemon flavored prunes? They're wonderful. These are really good. What did Barbara Mandrell think?
Actually, I love them both.
Do you question your bladder control protection? The answer is new technology from Attens that you can sample for free.
What makes it so new?
only new Attends has perma-dry fibers woven in to absorb faster.
Really?
To see for yourself, call 1-800-ATTENDS now for a free sample by mail.
Do you have the right kind of protection for me?
Ask for a pad, guard, undergarment, or brief. We'll help you choose the right size.
Great.
Call for a free sample today and look for Attends in the store.
We end the week the way we began, with the story of Haiti and emphasizing what a complicated country it is, what a complex situation the occupation is. Tonight, more than 10,000 U.S. troops are on the ground. They'll soon be occupying all the major cities, but they do not yet do that. So much of Haiti remains untouched by the U.S. presence. Correspondent Bob Simon reports from a coastal village where they're still waiting for the tide to turn.
Luli, population 2,000, is just around the bay from Port-au-Prince, but there are no Americans here. People haven't even seen the Americans on television because there is no television, or electricity, or running water. Luli was in the headlines for a while. This is the village that built the ships that took the people who wound up in Florida, or Guantanamo, or the bottom of the sea. But that's all over now. The ships have come in, the American ships. So the people aren't leaving anymore. The last ship they finished, Jesus the King, is for sale, but there are no buyers. Others lie like skeletons, wasting in the sun. Luli is still turning out small fishing boats, but hardly anyone in Haiti has money to buy the lobsters they catch or the boats they build to catch them. Mast maker Fernand Louis wants the Americans to come soon because he says they can help the village. There are coconuts on the trees here and fish in the sea, but there's nothing else. The only dollars in town are on T-shirts. Times are so hard, the schools closed down. They call Fritz Norelion the tree man because he spends his days wrapped in the shade of the mapu tree. He doesn't know if the Americans will bring good things, he says, but he's prepared to wait and see. Master shipbuilder Jean-Louis Son says it's not important when the Americans come to Luli. What's important is when they bring back Aristide.
We know that when Aristide comes back, everything will be all right.
All right. More all right than last year when close to 100 people left this village in one ship and lost their lives in a storm. People in Luli always have their eyes to the sea in fierce anticipation. And Jesus the King remains beached as everyone waits for the next miracle to wash ashore. Bob Simon, CBS News, Luli.
And that's our news. Bob Schieffer will be here tomorrow, Edie Magnus on Sunday.
And as we leave tonight, special thanks to all of the fine professionals responsible for CBS News coverage of the U.S. occupation of Haiti. Have a great weekend. We'll see you here on Monday.
Good night.
Experience CBS News.
This is CBS. Attention all stations concerned. There will be an update of the CBS Evening News.